Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing great today. This is Santiago, Valencia coming at you. And it's been a little while, but I am coming at you with a new movie and music review. This time, we're going to be talking about The Wild Robot. I just finished seeing this just about an hour or so ago. And I really wasn't planning on seeing it, but at the last minute, I'm like, you know what? Let's go ahead and check this out. Because I hadn't heard whether it was good or not. I try to stay away from the reviews before seeing a movie and so I went. So I am super happy that I went because I got to tell you, this movie was absolutely beautiful. It really, really was. I did hear a little bit of hype before it coming out, and I was excited to check it out. But again, like I said, I stay away from the reviews until I see it myself, and I'm really glad that I did. So it wasn't just the hype. So this movie, if you're not familiar with it, it is an animated movie from DreamWorks Animation, and it stars great talents like Lupita Nyong'o, if I'm pronouncing that right, Pedro Pascal, Bill Knightley, Tim Connor, and Vin Rames, and even Mark Hamill, which really surprised me at the end. So it was really, really great to check that out. So if you don't know what the story is all about, really, really quick, it is an animation story about a robot that suddenly wakes up and finds himself in the forest in sort of a situation. This robot doesn't know what it's there to do, doesn't really know how it got there, and all it's surrounded by are the wildlife. It befriends a fox and also starts taking care of a little chick as well. And then there are other animals that join in the fun and join in the story. And well, we go from there. And as you know, I'm not a huge person of giving away the story or too much of the plot, only to say that it really does have a really great feeling towards it, a great moral to the story. So I really, really appreciated it. Now, the animation style on this was absolutely gorgeous. It reminded me a little bit of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Now, I also did a review on that one in this channel, and I really adored the animation style on that. And that animation style was very similar to the one in Wild Robot. So I really, really thought it was just absolutely gorgeous, almost like a painting that was just coming alive. Right? It was really great. So this story starts off, like I mentioned, and I think that the story itself was I was expecting a little bit of a copy from, let's say, the Giant Robot, if you've seen that animation. And then there was also another film that kind of struck me a little bit along those lines too. I think it was Wally. It kind of gave me that feeling of those two movies. And to be honest with you, I wasn't very off. I was kind of right in the pocket when it came to that. It did turn into its own movie, but it did have feelings and um, origins, if you will, from those previous movies that I'd mentioned that came into Wild Robot. So I was expecting a little bit of a a little bit of a copycat, if that makes any sense. And to be totally truthful with you, it did have a little bit of that feeling towards those movies. But as soon as I got over the 25% mark of the movie, I felt that it started really coming into its own. Up until that 25%, quarter of the way through the movie, I felt that I was like, okay, I think I've seen this story before. I'm kind of like, I think I know where this is going to go. So I was like, I don't know. I'm not totally convinced around the 25% mark. But once we got over that, and once we got to about the 50%, it really did come into its own. And I'm glad that I stuck it out, because it really did create its own character, its own unique personality compared to the other two previous movies that I've seen. So it was a really, really great movie and very heartfelt, very, very warm that I felt that it came into. Let's talk about the music a little bit here, though, because I honestly look and listen when I watch these movies uh, about the music, right? As you may or may not know, I'm a huge lover of orchestral type music. The classical, romantic kind of music that goes with movies. And in this particular case, it did have mostly an orchestral score. This score was accompanied a little bit by some synth, if I can hear it. I think I heard some synth going on, which made a little sense because it kind of went with the tech, the sci-fi, the robot sort of a thing. blended with the orchestral, the traditional, right? But I have to say, in my experience when it comes to movies, I think that there's a beautiful, perfect marriage for the great movie between like 50% of the music of what you're hearing, plus the other 50% of what you're watching. Okay. And when that happens and it goes really well together, it just works beautifully. This particular movie surprised me because I felt that there was a little bit of a difference, something that I haven't seen in a long time. And that is that I actually felt that the music actually was a little bit more important on this movie, believe it or not. I really think that the music was something that, how can I put it, was its own character and really was at the forefront, maybe even in front of the actual visuals of what you're seeing. And I rarely see that in movies. And in this particular movie, it worked out beautifully because that music sometimes was so powerful, was so encompassing that it really helped us guide through the story all the way to the very end. There was a climax, part, when we have the danger and how we're going to get our heroes out of this. And the music really carried us through all the way through. And I was really impressed by the music because not only was it beautiful, not only was it, powerful, but it really just made everything just come up to a completely different level. Now, again, don't get me wrong. I felt that the animation and everything and the performances from our voice actors was top notch. It really, really was. But there was just something about the music in this one that made it even more powerful. And that, again, that music just stood in the forefront even before the visuals in my view of the movie. Now, this score was created by Chris Bowers. Now, Chris Bowers did an amazing job. Him and his team it did a beautiful, beautiful job, and I was very impressed by it. The recordings for this score were recorded in Air Studios in London, as well as additional music done in Abbey Road Studios as well, and mixed by Ocean View Studios, if I'm not mistaken. And it was something that I really want to now listen to the soundtrack on its own because I really think that it made the movie what it was. I really think that it just took us to a completely different level on this movie. Now, if you have seen the movie, I'm curious to see what you think about the movie, probably what you think about the music as well. But if you haven't seen the movie, I highly recommend this movie. It is just something that you can just experience for yourself, maybe bring the kids. I wanted to see it by myself, and by the end of the movie, I really wanted to see a part two, right? How our characters are going to develop later in the future. Hopefully, we'll get that. We never know. We'll see. But it really was something that I just invested myself into these characters. And it was something that I really wanted to check out and see what other adventures and what other development our characters might come into in the future. So it was a beautiful, beautiful movie. I highly, highly recommend it. I probably, on a scale of 1 to 10 as a whole, I would probably go ahead and give this movie a solid 8 out of 10. The visuals, the animation style, again, probably like an 8.5, 9 out of 10. It was absolutely stunning, gorgeous, beautiful colors and great animation, tons of detail, a lot of things going on, especially with certain bird scenes that were in flight. It was really, really cool. Musically, I actually probably give this one also probably about a 9 out of 10 as well. The orchestrations were gorgeous. And there was just a lot of detail put into this. And there was so much. I can only imagine what the spotting session was for this particular movie, because I can imagine that there was so much going on. There was so much discussion. Let's do this on this one part. And then when this happens, let's take it here. I mean, there was so much going on musically that I wish I could be a fly on the wall during the spotting session of this movie. For the music. It was really, really great. So again, overall, I think this movie was absolutely beautiful. It is something I definitely recommend, and it will be something that will definitely be going into my personal collection once this comes out. Probably on iTunes is where I buy my movies, and it is definitely something I would definitely watch over again. And I'm going to go ahead and listen to the score on the soundtrack just by itself and check it out for that. So anyway, all right, guys. Well, there you go. That is the review for Wild Robot this week. I hope you're doing great. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And like I said, it's been a while since I've done this, but I'm trying to get back on the horse and starting to put out things a little bit more regularly on this channel. So thank you very, very much for stopping by. Go ahead and give a thumbs up if you enjoy the video. And I do have more reviews coming up along with more compositions coming out of this studio for you to listen to. All right, guys, thank you very much. I hope you guys are doing well, and we will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.